So yes, you can launch the recording. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today, we are starting the final projects presentations for Fabricademy 25-26, the ninth edition. And we have as an invited jury Svenja Keune. She's a researcher postdoctoral researcher at the Swedish School of Textiles. She has been working a lot in more than human ecologies, regenerative practices, and but also the feedback to the presentations is welcome by everyone. You can give your suggestions and ideas to the projects. So good luck, everyone. And let's start. So who's starting first?
Svetlana in Armenia.
Good luck, and let's start.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Good luck to all of us. Very exciting. Okay, I will start with the small short film. Every waking moment, with each blink of the eye, we observe color. It surrounds us quietly yet persistently, shaping the way we perceive the world, guiding our emotions, and making the passage of time through subtle shifts in light and season. Sometimes we notice it, sometimes it simply lives around us, quietly shaping how we feel and where our attention rests. Color is part of the rhythm of being alive, an ever-changing presence that connects us to the world, to the seasons, and to one another. Have you ever wondered what stories color can tell us about ourselves? The colors that surround us begin to mirror our inner landscapes, our moods, our histories, our connections to nature and to each other. But how often do we stop and observe color consciously? How much thought do we give to how it affects us? This story is of color and the quiet power it holds over us. It is through patience that nature reveals its hidden hues. By giving yourself time and simple observation, you open dialogues with these living colors. The stories they tell are merely the stories you hold within. What emotions, if any, do you feel?
Strength, loyalty, ancestral pain.
Thank you. And now to my presentation, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So, isthema, derived from the Greek word for feeling, sensation, perception, explores the subtle yet powerful ways color can influence our emotional and sensory experience. It is an experimental framework for observing color more consciously, using naturally dyed textiles as a medium to investigate how color can affect our emotional perception. We live in a world saturated with color, yet we rarely stop to consider how it shapes the way we feel, think, or interpret our environment. This project began with a simple curiosity. How do colors affect us emotionally, and what happens when we give ourselves the time and space to truly observe them? Istima emerged as an attempt to slow down our interaction with color and explore the sensations it can evoke. The project developed through three main phases. The first phase focused on material research, extracting color from plants through natural dyeing. The second phase explored human perception, studying how people emotionally respond to different colors. And the third phase translated these findings into a spatial installation, the mood room, where color can be experienced as an immersive environment. The first phase involved experimenting with natural dyes, extracting color from plant materials and documenting their variations. Each dye experiment was carefully recorded, including the plant source, mordants, and dyeing conditions. This documentation allows the dye processes to remain replicable and accessible. Through these experiments, I created a color library of more than 50 naturally dyed swatches. Each swatch presented a small record of the interaction between plant, fiber, and process. Together they form a palette that reflects the diversity and unpredictability of natural color, where subtle shifts in material or technique can produce different tones. This library became the visual foundation for the rest of the project. Instead of discarding the leftover dye baths, I also began experimenting with lake pigments. What initially appeared as a waste became a completely new material, opened a new direction within the project. Converting plant dyes into pigment form allows these colors to continue their journey beyond textiles, moving into watercolor inks and other artistic applications. And so my next project, growing from the branches of Istima, is to transform these pigments into an all-natural watercolor set, allowing these colors born from nature to continue their life through new forms. Also, some of the pigments will be shared with my friend Emma, who is completing her PhD at Harvard, and she will be using it for her final printmaking project. This collaboration demonstrates how the research and material exploration of Istima can continue evolving across different artistic and academic practices. A key idea in this project is that color is not experienced purely as an objective visual phenomenon. It is deeply connected to emotion, memory, and bodily sensation. To explore this, participants were invited to observe the color swatches and respond to a structured questionnaire that encouraged multisensory reflection. Rather than simply naming the colors, participants were asked to describe things like where in their body they felt the color, emotions, sounds, smells, and physical sensations linked to the color. The aim was to understand how color can trigger personal, emotional, and somatic responses, responses that go far beyond merely seeing a hue. This approach revealed how color can become a mirror of internal states, allowing the observer's mind and body to engage with the color in a deeply personal way. One particularly interesting moment occurred with this swatch. The textile was dyed using red poppies collected from around Lake Sevan. When asked what is the first thing that you think of when observing this color, a participant immediately associated it with Lake Sevan. despite the lake's usual blue or turquoise and without any information about the plant source. This moment suggested that color can sometimes carry a sensory memory of place, allowing viewers to intuitively connect a color with a landscape or environment. To allow people to experience color in a more focused way, I also developed a small device that I call the color chamber. It is light, handheld, and assembled out of a heavyweight paper. When someone looks inside the chamber, the surrounding environment disappears and the viewer is confronted only with the color of the textile. This creates a more intimate and concentrated experience, allowing people to observe color without distraction. The chamber was used during the research phase of the project, helping participants focus on individual color swatches before responding to the questionnaire. The final outcome of the project is the Mood Room, an immersive installation located in Saumosavan. Inside the space, 3 monochromatic silk textiles, all dyed with the same natural color, surround the viewer. Rather than observing color as a small sample, visitors encounter it as a spatial atmosphere. In many ways, the Mood Room is the larger spatial version of the color chamber. Both share the same idea of isolating color and removing external distractions, allowing the observer to focus entirely on the experience of color. Interviews conducted during the project reveal that responses to color often reflect a person's internal emotional landscape. To express this idea spatially, the Mood Room structure is covered with mirror metal sheets on the exterior. From the outside, the structure blends into its surroundings, reflecting the landscape around it. But upon entering, the visitors encounter a monochromatic interior. This contrast turns the room into a kind of perceptual capsule, separating the viewer from the outside world and allowing color to become the primary experience. Interestingly, no visitors have yet entered this room. The color was not selected for an audience, but for myself. Color perception is deeply personal, and the Mood Room reflects my own intuitive relationship with color. The choice emerged partly from observing the swatches through the color chamber, but also from an emotional response to the present moment. In a way, this process resembles how color trends often emerge through a mixture of observation, cultural atmosphere, and intuition. At this particular moment, I felt that this was the color my mind and body needed. In our daily lives, color is everywhere, yet we rarely stop to truly experience it. Estima proposes a moment of pause. Through natural pigments, emotional observation, and immersive space, the project explores how color can act as a bridge between the external world and our internal emotional landscape. Within the Mood Room, color is no longer simply something we see, but something we feel and inhabit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Svetlana.
Thank you, Svenja.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how your project developed since I've seen it roughly a month ago. And I was very happy to see how you explored a different scale with the Mood Room. And of course, it would be really interesting to not only see your own experience, but also how others perceive the space. Maybe, I mean, there's, what I also really like is that you are, that it's a lot about like sharing the project and its results with others in the different ways that you are doing that already. Not only like in the kind of small scale of inviting people to interviews to share their experience with a small chamber, but then also to share pigments and develop this watercolor set. I think that's a very, very clever kind of continuation, and the film and the aesthetics talked to me very much. I just have a small comment to the questionnaire, because yeah, since you investigate how other people respond to a certain color, I mean, this is something very, and I don't remember anymore how you set up but if like first you ask how your interviewees or how the people you asked, so like if they first have the experience and then need to write down what they are, what their sensation is, there is a gap and in between kind of what they felt. So it can be that it's like mostly thinking and interpretation that is collected in the writing. And I wonder if it's, yeah, maybe better for next time to record them, like to have them kind of say, okay, now I'm feeling this, and maybe you did that. I just don't remember right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, thank you, Svenja, for the comments. That's actually what I did. I would
Okay, great.
have the viewers kind of hold it up. I would ask the questions as they're holding it up, and I would just record what they're saying.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
in regards to people also having the experience of the mood room, it's going to stand there for about a year with the textiles hanging. So we will both kind of see what happens to the textiles, but also people will, it's a free open space. People can, it's not a private, like it's not a locked land, so people can go and visit. So yes.
Yeah, it's also quite special that this room is in nature and it's not like a sealed environment where the light is controlled, where the sound is controlled, and that, of course, I mean, has like certain effects, but yeah, I really appreciate that also wind and like other smells are interacting with the installation, and that it's not a black box and artificial light, and but that it's more kind of alive, the whole setting. Yeah. Thank you, Svetlana.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's I share the same. Svenja says it's beautiful. Thank you also for again being the first courageous first one. The video was beautiful, and I think you made something very personal, very accessible, and yet kept the complexity of what it means to you, which is not always the easiest. Thank you. Next up, we see Simone.
Hello. Hi.
There is the suggestions and feedback sheet. So don't forget to add your suggestions also there and your feedback to Svetlana and everybody else who will present. Simone.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to share with you Resurrect, my passion project for the past 3 months. I hope you like it. We're going to start off with a video. Okay, just a second. Sound, yes. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to go with the presentation. Sorry. Okay, so just a second. Resurrect. Worn, then inhabited. I'm going to start with some of the statements that have been the basic drive for this project. The end of use is not the end of life. Everything continues, whether we design it to or not, but maybe we can decide for it how to continue. My motive basically for this project was a problem statement. Yearly, over 8 million tons of plastic pollute the ocean, and up to 35 are traced to textile, ornamental fashion industry, which in turn did increase the coral bleaching risk up to 20 times. Just to shift. Resurrect is a ritual-based wearable project that questions the human hierarchy over nature. Worn, then inhabited. Through this project, I was exploring a multi-life design approach through 3D printing terracotta modules that interpreted ornamental fashion through a sustainable lens, which transitioned into a second life as a marine life habitat. This video that I shared with you guys was a ritual, the basic first attempt for this project. It was a symbolic act of disassembly, as the clay modules composing the structure of the garment were removed from the body and reassembled underwater into a steel scaffold, transforming into an artificial reef habitat. The project is a token to nature. It is consisting of 4 components: a dress, a headpiece, a set of jewelry, and a steel scaffold art installation. The dress beholds a metaphor for human trace. The headpiece, the set of jewelry is a metaphor for desire and attachment, and the headpiece is a metaphor for pride and ego, each of which are being disassembled for the dress and being proposed as a token to Mother Nature and removing from the water, grounded and vulnerable. The research synthesis I had through this project was basically studying the coral reefs existing in the Gulf of Aqaba, which is the only Red Sea bordering coast in Jordan, one of the most resilient and rich coral reefs around the world, composing of 4 main types of coral reefs. Through this study, I also was comparing between clay and coral skeleton in terms of water flow, algae attachment, microorganism shelter, and larval settlement, which allowed me to create and develop a geometry with a design takeaway that would allow the coral reefs the clay elements that I'm designing, to be nurseries, food webs, protective variables, and as well attachment points for larvae, allowing them to evolve into a coral reef. So now the collective design process I had for the wearables, which I proposed: a dress, a set of jewelry, a headpiece, and installation, each of which had a design phase and a fabrication phase. The design, there were many kinds of design approaches I used to 3D print clay, but the best approach was 2D designing on Rhino and 3D designing and slicing on WASP 2040. I had to discover multiple types of clay in order to print the one that was the most, let's say, convenient for a terracotta ornament. The best one was the mixture of Jordanian clay. Then after the process for preparing this clay for 3D printing, production of both geometric and irregular shapes of clay ornaments. Let's say an army of terracotta. And of course, investigating how these distinct shapes could establish a language and how these languages can be woven together. My garment, I designed a garment that was 3 pieces that could be assembled and reassembled. There is an approach that after this program, I would continue on developing the entire garment from sustainable materials and biomaterials. The process of developing the garment, the process of preparing the, let's say, fabricating the clay, the terracotta jewelry, and the process of fabricating the steel installation, which was actually produced from scrap metal and leftover steel. And it went like, so the future of this project, in my opinion, would be basically, I'm looking at it, as a communal practice one day in the future. Maybe it wouldn't be a ritual for one person, it could be a ritual for many people, and a commercial approach that maybe we can one day incorporate terracotta ornamentation in our fashion industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. Wow. Yeah, also quite a difference to where you have been a month ago. And yeah, I don't know really what to say. It's a very kind of, yeah, in a way, yeah, very rich and kind of complete process and project. And yeah, I really appreciate the personal, yeah, I think kind of bringing the awareness about marine life into fashion and into jewelry is very strong, and I haven't seen that before. Yeah, and so yeah, very very successful in your storytelling from yeah, how can ornamental fashion industry lead to something positive and not to plastic pollution. And then also the ritual and the symbolic act of disassembly, like where kind of the handing over the jewelry to the ocean becomes a ritual to give something up or to let something go. Yeah, very, very good. And yeah, I'm very curious, like if you could observe some interactions already, or I guess it's been quite recently that the pieces were handed over to the ocean. So yeah, I'm curious how you will observe, and if you also plan to invite others, or if you will do such a ritual again, and if you yourself will maybe also wear the jewelry.
Yeah, actually, I really wanted to see the results too. However, due to political situation now in the region, I was able to go gather the results. However, yes, I'm definitely thinking to include this, let's say, strategy not only into the fashion approach, but as well into the architectural approach. How can we produce like modular facades, modular pieces that could be, resurrected into the marine life in a more sustainable fashion? So yeah, definitely, it's the next steps, and probably maybe soon it could be a communal practice and maybe a commercial approach, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say it is the first time I see this kind of application of 3D printing for textiles and fashion. I think that your project has an incredible aesthetical quality, but also it makes us think because of what is it designed for. It's designed for giving back to nature. We never think about our clothes like that. We don't, when we wear our clothes, we don't think ever what will happen after to them. So it brings a lot of awareness as well. And there is tons of explorations to done afterwards, which means that your project is going to start from now, no? Because you can see also the finishings, different types of coatings, different kinds of coatings that they can be food for, or and also the part that Svenja discussed about, which is the observation of what it creates underwater. So congratulations. I love it. It's very beautiful.
It means a lot.
And
Thank
we
you.
can continue with the Hanin.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Beneath the waters of the Gulf of Aqaba lies one of the
Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Murjan is about coral reef to be 3D printed to solve a marina problem, starting from Aqaba, hopefully to expand for more area in need for corals. For Aqaba, as I mentioned in the video, it is, according to UNESCO, one of the most biodiverse places worldwide. Even though we had very good coral in Aqaba, we suffered during 2024 from high temperature, which led to start with bleaching. This problem just we put on it like more focus to just focus on it and work on a solution without losing the beautiful marina we have. This is one of corals in Aqaba. This is very diverse, and as we know, coral reef cover only 1% of the world ocean floor, but it provides habitat for at least 25% of all marina life. That's why it's very important for marina system. These are some kind of corals we have in Aqaba. Aqaba is well known also with the hard corals, and the corals we have it here. My concept was, since we are talking about pollution, high temperature, global warmth, why we don't back to the nature and just like heal nature by nature, and using just the clay and the sand to give more solution and and something meaningful for the coral itself. But why clay itself? Clay is actually widely available everywhere from any area, could be local or commercial. It's low carbon. It could be like a biocomposite material to be mixed with other material to strengthen it. And after all, it is very sustainable for the life. 3D printing technology. Using 3D printing technology could help with the making more complex geometry and also making more modular and repetitive shapes to cover more of the marina size. Design and restoration, it was based on the coral structure and the morphology to understand the need of it and how it also acts on or under the seawater. My initial steps was mimicking some of the corals. We already have the famous ones to replicate it and explore it with the coding. Slowly, I was doing like more Python equation to fractal generating designs. Going to design gyroid, and after that, there is a design to make the final design based on the environment and clay. That's how it is. My design was based on environment to work on the environment by decreasing the water flow through the solid surface of coral and to grow on other species, as you will see in the next slide. The clay, my first iterations, it like was not possible in 3D printing because we need more continuous tool path, which is something it happened here. Here it was inspired from corals such as brain corals, plus study for the environment, how we can like allow water to be go through it without be blocked. So the pressure could be decreased on the coral itself. Adding to that, it could be like a place, solid place for the coral itself and other marine species. This shape could be like flexible and could be adjusted in many shapes. Either it could be stacked above each other or module connected to each other to cover more spaces, vertical and horizontal. After clay firing actually could be like considered earthware clay as I fired on 1030. And it could be stoneware if it fired above 1200, which is something I would explore it in the future to see how much it could be very solid underwater. Sharing some of the ideas, I have it here. And here is how terracotta was after the firing too. The openings, definitely with 3D printing, especially when you go upscale, you could just have some small, let's say, gaps, which doesn't affect a lot. But if this was one way also to remedy the clay itself. Here are some more approaches with heating and with adjusting the clay. And here you can see some of the prototypes for the clay. Initial prototypes was to also see the shapes, how it can be. Challenges and solution. I had like challenges like definitely with 3D printing could be like with the material thickness, but solution if there is like specific formula with each type of clay, it could be very good and useful in the future. So here I was testing also the coral reef itself in many and different level of bacteria, marine life, and pH to see how it's interacting too, whether it's Red Sea or pH or else. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanin. Yeah, also very interesting project, and great to see so many projects interested in improving marine life, because that's so important. And yeah, also showing quite a different approach to the project before. Yeah, I remember that you also mentioned the use of biomimicry in the presentation before, and yes, what I'm wondering is, yeah, are the design parameters for the structure. For it, like, yeah, I understand that it's inspired by the brain coral, and yeah, I wonder if, like, yeah, if corals like to yeah, to attach themselves to a structure that kind of imitates the morphology of a brain coral. And yeah, I quite appreciate that that you interact with like manually with the 3D printing, and that the limitations you face there, that yeah, that you like try to manage them, and like with your manual adjustments, and that you break the like rather stiff walls, like the vertical walls a bit up, because yeah, that would be kind of my suggestion, to find a way to increase the surface texture and porosity of the pieces, and to experiment more like with different like 3D printing. And I think there you can like learn a lot from different researchers and designers who have developed like certain tool paths for increasing the surface and textures in 3D printing.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with you, and thank you for your suggestion. Actually, this is also what I'm trying to work on with the future plans, as I'm planning to also complete the project. Definitely, a lot of things will be with the thickness of the material and so on, to explore it more in depth after these 2 intensive months. And thank you so much for your suggestion. Yeah, I will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hanin. And I mean, so well done. And yeah, I guess it's been quite a like a huge learning and quite intense process. And yeah, it's a great project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hanin. I hope if this topic is something that you are very interested in continuing with, I would see that there are currently some initiatives that they are using additive manufacturing for coral reef restoration, and sometimes it's worth volunteering and getting to go out to the sea and see what are the problematics, understand from first hand, and see how developments are, because sometimes we design foreseeing or wanting to design something, but as soon as we get into the reality of how it works and what are the difficulties or how are the design constraints, then we get informed. So I would highly recommend that you go towards more the action now for some time before you start redesigning again, to get some input from the people that they are out there. And thank you. So let's continue with Ipek.
Yes, Anastasia. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. My videos.
You saw my message? Ipek, I
and-
sent you a message on how to share a screen. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. Just make sure to press on.
Ne? Şey alamıyorum. Çok sorry. Videos. See you video.
No.
No, you need to share everything. So when you press share, you need to press with audio. I wrote it in the chat on the side. So stop sharing.
Okay. See
Yes.
you video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Start.
Play. Okay, there is no sound. But
No,
we have the
can you-
video. I will share my screen. Wait.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Wait, Ipek. Let's see if I can do it. Sorry, but
The SCOBY derived from kombucha fermentation and then dried is the core material of my project. SCOBY can be transformed into skin contact vegan leather, which can then be used to create garments, gloves, and accessories. SCOBY-based wound dressing can even promote the healing of cuts and wounds on the skin. A throat rub for sore throat can be made from lemon and ginger, econ pain compress from calendula and chamomile, and in either eye mask from rosemary. In this project, I fermented kombucha with lemon and ginger, calendula, and chamomile and rosemary. I then dried the result in a SCOBY and turned into powder, starting experiments to use the fermented material in natural dressing. First herbal infusing were brewed, left to rest, and then filtered sugar, SCOBY and kombucha were added, and the mixture was fermented for 1 day. Afterwards, it was blended together with the SCOBY into a puree and spread onto fermentation trays. I then proceeded to dry the resulting SCOBY and process it in a grinder to obtain a powdered form. I transferred the mixture into jars. For my first test, I applied it on myself as my wristband had returned. I activated fermented calendula and chamomile powder with warm water, spread it onto a bandage using a spoon, and rubbed my wrist. While working on the computer, it did not thread my wrist, and I observed that the bandage helped relieve the pain. The second test was conducted with a friend who frequently experiences sore throat and prefers natural remedies. We carried out the first application together. She applied the fermented lemon and ginger mixture activated with warm water onto a wrap and placed it round her throat, keeping it on for about 30 minutes until it cooled down. For the second trial, she applied it on her own and reported a noticeable relief in her sore throat. She even asked me to prepare this mixture again for her. A friend who tested the fermented rosemary powder mixture had issues with under eye parfumate and dark circles, we carried out the first application together. We diluted the mixture with from water, applied it onto cotton pads, and placed them under the ice for 15 minutes. I also observed the results of the first application. The darkness under the ice had reduced, the parfait had decreased, and the skin appeared firmer. She performed the second and third applications on her own as seen in the before and after photos. After 3 applications, she reported a noticeable reduction in under-eye dark circles and a significant decrease in puffiness. She also asked me to prepare more of the rosemary mixture for her. In conclusion, the biomaterial obtained by fermenting kombucha with plants rich in beneficial compounds, and by drying and powdering the resulting vegan leather has shown promising results when used in natural skin dressing. I would like to thank my friends Jale and Bushra for support in my project. With their experiences with this work, I complete my final project. Thank you for listening.
Okay, Ipek, you can share your screen now with your presentation.
Okay. Sorry. Şöyle yapacağım. Neden olmuyor? Okuyacağım ne demek? I would read. I read. I read my slides.
Yes, you can read your slides,
Okay.
but we don't see the presentation. It is in another window.
Aslında yani paylaşmaya çalışıyorum ama olmuyor.
We don't see the presentation.
Sorry, bir dakika. Evet ama şey gelmiyor yani geri gidemiyorum. Sorry, I read my slides.
Ekran paylaştırsın.
Olmuyor.
Nasıl olmuyor?
My project çok sorry.
Yes, perfect.
My slides.
Yes, perfect.
Fermentation as a skin contact biomaterial system. I am interested in fermentation as a living system. I want to explore materials that are naturally bioactive and in direct contact with the skin. This project connects fermentation, body, and care. Who is it for? Designers working with biomaterials, people interested in natural healing, mind, researchers exploring sustainable materials, develop drying the Fabricademy program, experiments were conducted in a home lab environment. The development process took several weeks. Fermentation, SCOBY formation, drying material, stabilization, grinding powder transformation, application skin contact testing, growing materials, not manufacturing them from kombucha, biomaterials from fermentation to care, This is just a beginning, and flexible materials after drying, herbal infusion, change texture and scent, potential for soothing and moisturizing. Further testing is needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ipek.
Thank you.
Yeah, I fell in love with your project last time you presented because it's such an innovative approach to working with bacterial cellulose, for instance. And yeah, I'm very happy to see that you could also get your friends involved and that they all agreed to testing your different products or developments. Yeah, I found it quite interesting that you ground a powder to preserve the the fermentation or like the and that you could then kind of activate the mixture again with water and apply it with other textiles. I'm just so curious or like so inspired to see how one can grow face masks just from the bacterial cellulose and apply those directly on the skin. So yeah, I think that would be also in terms of the aesthetics quite an exciting test. So then you could have like freshly grown remedies and then also the powders to make to preserve the ingredients. But yeah, I hope you will continue with this, and thank you so much, Ipe.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Ipek. I think you did a lot of work also from the last session, so congratulations on that. And also on bringing it forward, testing it with different people, which was one of the things you really wanted to do. So I'm happy to see that that has happened and that they were happy too. And I agree with Svenja. And I also, I'm curious, what are all the other things you can test? Other ways of drying it? Could you freeze drying it? What would that look like? Would that impact the microbial colonies? But also, could different types of biomaterials also form a base layer for your dried up SCOBY, so that you really could have maybe a mold and everything else, and slowly build up step by step a sort of full DIY kit when people could actually make the product at home. So I think it's like, it's step by step. I think you will actually be able to produce something that can really have an effect on people, especially all the ones that don't want to use other type of medicines, but really can work on self-care, making their own patches. And I think there you really have something. So congratulations and well done.
Thank you, Cecilia.
Don't stop, keep going. And next up, we have Flora.
Hello. I will share my screen. Get ready for lots of fish. Here's my video. Enjoy.
Audio.
Oh! Let me start again. I knew that would happen. Okay. Try one more time. All good?
çay bar.
Gel bakalım. Dur ben yapayım. Zo wat vaak, Mike.
Good. Come in. Come in. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Delicious.
Yeah, let's do it. It's not there though.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for your
Pleasure.
Stay cozy.
Bye. Bye.
See you later.
See ya. Special thank you to Mark, the fishmonger, and all of the staff at the local fishmonger here. So I present to you A Life That Follows, which is a showcase of fish skin as a material that can be used within fashion and interiors, honouring the indigenous practices from which it originates. For hundreds of years, indigenous communities have looked further than animals' nutritional value and have seen animals as sentient beings and partners in survival. Waste is always seen as a form of disrespect, and so they harness the zero waste ethos to maintain human and animal relations, seeing humans as part of the ecosystem, not separate. Innovation does not always have to mean invention. Sometimes it just means looking into the past. So we need to take inspiration from indigenous practices as living systems of knowledge that are centered around paying attention and being part of one's environment, ancestral systems and regenerative futures. So A Life That Follows was born from the local waste stream from a local fishmonger in Amsterdam, where I received waste skins every Monday morning. If I didn't receive these skins, they would otherwise be recycled into fish food or cosmetics. So in a world that's drowning in synthetic textiles that are polluting our oceans and even the air we breathe, why not harness the potential of this beautiful and sustainable and biodegradable material? Thinking from a more than human approach, I'm looking at it being a continuation of the fish's life cycle, allowing the skin to be the carrier of cultural memory. So seeing where my project sits within this ecosystem / industry and how I can try and cultivate some good from this very extractive industry. And so once I've received the waste, trying to move forward with care and consideration and work with natural materials, natural tanning methods, and trying to be as 100% fish as I can. So then it could eventually, hopefully, return to the sea to then break down the leftover organic nutrients and not pollute our oceans. So I made bags and lampshades. So why? It's one material, two contexts with shared values. Each tests the material in different yet complementary ways. The bag tests its strength, movement, durability, whereas the lampshade focuses on structure, translucency, and surface quality. So this shows how fish skin can move fluidly between disciplines. And there's lots more to come, I think. So for phase 1 of my process was experimenting with different tanning methods and different species. Tanning is what transforms the skin from a raw material into a durable one. So I experimented with fat tanning, bark tanning, and ethanol and glycerin. The process consisted of so scraping all the flesh off, descaling, washing. I moved forward with ethanol and glycerin, so soaking in ethanol and glycerin for 3 days, and then coating in glycerin and stretching and drying it. So I did that every week, receiving skins every Monday. So I went forward with ethanol and glycerin because it gave the best results, and each species then came out with its own personal properties that suited each product, which I'll talk about in the future. But yeah, so phase 2 was fabrication methods. So there was 3 different things, from modular construction, so patchwork, pattern making, to then textile scaffold, so molding with fish glue, which is a composite derived from fish bladder. And then I made a mold that was inspired by traditional paper lantern making in Japan. And it was a shape that could work for both. So kind of encouraging reusability and versatility. So I could have different designs, but then also collapse it and use it more than once. And then digital fabrication, so laser cut curving for flexibility, and then some drawing to give some meaning to honor the life before. So this project bridges the gap between digital craftsmanship and traditional craftsmanship. The digital allows form-finding techniques and sustainable reusability, and traditional craftsmanship brings back the love and care for the material being at the center, so rooted in care, consideration, and value. So this leads to my final pieces. So I made a salmon bag, which is more of a kind of fashion statement piece, which was I made a pattern of the mold and then made 12 panels of 3 different colors. And then it was all sewn together and then rehydrated and molded around the mold, a bit like leather molding. And then the strap was made from fish, and then it's lined with linen. And then the cod crossbody was a bit more functional everyday bag. I just made a simple pattern and then included everything that makes a bag. So a zip and the little hoops, and the strap was made from half fish skin, half linen. And then the brown sole lampshade was made with the same mold, but the other way around, and it was simply just made by rehydrating the skins and then molding it around with some fish glue to give it a little bit more strength. And then the white sole lampshade, I made a pyramid in rhino, and then this was collapsible, so also flat pack and reusable. And I made 4 panels out of 3 panels that all slotted around. And then it was molded together with fish glue as well. And then it attaches to the lamp base with a 3D piece, which is removable, which means that both of the lampshades are 100% fish. So I used fish bones as the strength on the edges, and then fish glue as well. So once you remove the light bulb and the notch, then it's 100% fish. So then the final little detail was these little labels of each fish on their species to honor the life that came before and to celebrate a world where we can make with nature as a partner in coexistence and creation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Flora. Such a fascinating project. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, I really, really admire your dedication towards being 100% fish and also like really honoring the being, the beings that you are working with, and yeah, also like what you said about that waste actually means disrespect. I think that's a very strong statement that we all should keep in mind when we work the way we do and live the way we do. Yeah, and it's been really a pleasure to see now some outcomes and also that your friends are using them, so they also hold the kind of reality test. And yeah, also hearing that you used fish glue and then also fish bones, so like trying to use everything that the fish kind of provides. Yeah, it feels very, very complete and very respectful, the project, and also brings a lot of curiosity in the material itself, also about the process. But yeah, I think personally I would have some trouble with the smells.
It's not too bad. You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
Everyone's
maybe.
surprised by the lack
Maybe
of
my imagination is worse than
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
so
then
much.
also, I mean, the combination of digital and traditional crafts, I think is very strong. So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you so
Really
much.
beautiful project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. Very nice results after this research. Yeah, I really like the aesthetics also of the video, this casuality, the daily, the rough. I think I found it very inventive, very nice. The approach with the sound, it was very immersive, and it made me think that this project is almost like a diary of you collecting, and it's even like worth having this notebook with your daily activities. I think that's very, very interesting to how you establish a métier, like a craft, and what it means to make this craft. I will put you a challenge for the future. Because you can also use the scales. They are keratin percentage. You can make very nice like buttons and hard materials as ornaments for that.
Definitely. I've got some scales ready, ready to start trying.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I guess we have a small bio break, and after in 10 minutes we will continue with Amber. I will just play some videos in the meantime. Yeah, Cecilia?
Maybe some that need to audio video test, screen share, etc.
Yeah.
How long is
Let's
the bio break again?
10 minutes
10 minutes, okay.
until 30.
Half past, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
half past. Mhm.
I might just try share right now. That's okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Is it working? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Someone else wants to test? Yeah. You can go. Laura, Carlota. Carlota, yeah.
Yeah. So now with this, just a second. Plants and ecosystems share the
Okay.
same elements. Water,
Okay.
energy.
Laura?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's working. Do you have sound?
No. Check. I put in the chat a screenshot of what you need to do.
Perfect. Thank you. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, I was there, but then it needs a password. And I'm not really sure about the Zoom password.
It's your Zoom password.
I know.
Do you have your video on your website?
Yeah, both of them.
You can send also a link in the chat, and just try to share again. Yeah.
I think without the password, I'm not able to do that.
Swimming in the ocean, bare skin in open water, and suddenly.
Yeah, I can hear now.
Great. Thank you.
If there is no one else that wants to test, then I can play we can have the break, and I will be playing some video just during the break. Well, we are back from the break. And yes, I will resume. And then Amber.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Hey.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, start with my video.
Energy you're gonna push through, and then you go to the light. And then if you see the baby in the room, the seed, everything need to be done to be able to grow, because growth is not happen in comfort zone. So don't be afraid of this.
Okay, so I'd like to take you all somewhere for just a moment. If everyone could close their eyes, take a deep breath in and let it go. I want you all to think about the last time you were outside and you actually felt it. The ground beneath you, the air moving, the smell of something alive. That feeling isn't nostalgia, it's recognition. Your body remembering what it already knows. You were never separate from nature. We just built walls and forgot. This garment is a reminder. Every fiber in it reaching toward light before it became this. Just like you. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes and I'll share my presentation. She who holds the ground, she is matriarchal, she is ancient. She existed before land became property, before nature became a resource. It is an armor of reconnection, and this is how she was made. This project began with a question: what happens when design doesn't dominate but listens? I didn't come to this process with a blueprint. I came with my hands and I let the material tell me what it wanted to become. Growth, decay, failure, unpredictability, these weren't problems, they were the process. And then I really listened. I grew grass, I measured it, I tested whether it could speak through a bioelectrical signal, through vibration. What I found was we don't need to engineer nature, we just need to coexist with it. So I tested materials until one felt right, and this is where the material was born. As you can see, it's pretty brittle, terrible, has some holes, definitely not wearable. So to make it a wearable, I turned to momogami, which is a Japanese tradition of kneading paper until it softens like cloth. It's an ancient process from devil's tongue plant to cognac, from this to a garment. Kneading it allows the hydrogen bonds that are in the cognac to disperse and turn it from a flat paper to a three-dimensional fibers. And then I did some tests with writing my name into the surface. From flat sheets to panels, then panels to patterns, and then from pattern to form, a bodice, a second skin, armor that's grown, not manufactured by me and by the earth itself. Even the finishing was reciprocal, weld, hollyhock, iron, dyes that came from the same ground that the material grew from. Nothing extracted that wasn't offered. Return to the place where she came from. And it doesn't end here. My roots are still growing, and I definitely want to explore the depth of momogami, changing the shapes with laser cutting, ultrasonic heat. This project began with wanting to make clothing that listened to land, but when I learned was simpler and stranger, that when you tend to something that's living, something that it has its own pace, its own needs, its own will to grow, it shifted something in me that everything is alive. If clothing can remember where it came from, perhaps we can too. She who holds the ground, she always has. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate how your project developed. Last time in the presentation, it was about growing textiles from grassroots, and then you also mentioned that you wanted to listen to the environment, and you also mentioned it now that that you use design as a process of listening, and then during the process, something else can also happen, and then suddenly, something much simpler also arrived, no? So and you also mentioned until you experimented until the material felt right. So it was also about letting feeling decide the process. and yeah, not sticking to kind of the conceptual idea, but letting the process inform you.
Definitely.
Yeah, and yeah, then discovering Momigami. I actually have never heard of it, so yeah, I'm quite curious.
No,
And
it's an amazing process. It's been happening for years and years. So cool. Thank you for the feedback.
yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate kind of the groundedness and simplicity that arrived in this project.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm very proud of you, Amber. I think this project also reflects a lot of you. So much of you is in all the different parts of your, your own development throughout the project, throughout this process. And that is, being able to put that into a project is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Because we see the development, we see, as also Svenja was saying, this exchange between the process and who you are, and it's a dialogue. And all meaningful projects share this. It evolved and adapted as you did until you found something that made fully sense for you. So well done. Congratulations.
So much. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you.
Let's continue with Joanna.
Yes, hello. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the final presentation of my project Unrooted, an interactive installation that explores belonging, growth, and connection. I first like to begin by showing you a short video so you can get an impression of the installation, and afterwards I'll walk you through the process behind it.
Is there sound?
There should be sound. I shared it actually. You cannot hear it, wait. Ooh.
No, and earlier it did play.
Yeah.
So maybe
Okay,
stop
wait.
and start again. Yeah, now you were hearing audio.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm sharing the wrong screen, I think. Right.
It's okay. Take a moment.
This one. Okay. Right? Yeah.
We live in a time of constant movement. When was the last time you reached for your roots? Are they beneath your feet, grounded where you stand? Or do they live somewhere else, less visible? In a memory, a person, a feeling you carry? We drift between places, identities, versions of who we are, always connected, yet often unanchored. What happens if we reconnect with our roots? Do they start growing? We relocate, reconnect, reinvent ourselves. We uproot, adapt, and replant again and again. How do we root ourselves in this motion? if rootedness is not something fixed, not a place we return to, but something we carry, something we cultivate through attention, through care, through connection, something we grow inside ourselves.
So the main question that led me to this project was, how can we understand rootedness and belonging in a time of constant movement? So when we're changing locations, we're moving between cultures and languages and are digitally connected all the time, yet often feel increasingly disconnected. In other words, how am I rooted when everything is in motion? To approach this question, I decided to create a participatory installation, one that actively involves people. So one important aspect for me was interaction. I wanted visitors to engage with the installation during the exhibition. And the idea is that when someone comes closer and touches the blanket, a video projection begins, as you saw in the video, and showing the roots growing. So this creates a transition, suggesting that the roots begin to grow through touch and connection. And yeah, I come back to this later. Yeah, the central element of the installation is the root blanket in the video, and it's made up of many individual root pieces, each grown by participants in the project. And the participants first fill out a questionnaire available both in analog and digital formats, and their answers are then translated into a parametric design in Rhino and Grasshopper, which determines the shape of an acrylic mold. And afterwards, they grow the roots individually at home, and following, they were assembled into a collective blanket. Yeah, to make this a bit clearer, I show you another short video. And in this video, you see the digital version of the questionnaire. I connected my Grasshopper file to Shapediver, making it accessible and downloadable, so anyone who wants to participate and grow their own roots can do so. And also, if you feel like you try this yourself, you can find the link in my documentation afterwards.
How strong does your sense of belonging feel? Loose or strong? How do your relationships grow? Independently or strongly bound? How many people form your social ground? A single anchor, a quiet circle, supportive soil or living earth? Do these relationships feel stable or in transition? Where do you feel the strongest sense of belonging? Place, memory, relationship? How much do you live in between different identities, languages, cultures, or roles? Does your inner path feel clear or searching and winding?
Yeah, as you could see, the pattern inside each mold changed depending on the answer given. And yeah, so each participant creates a unique result. And yeah, now you can see the molds being prepared to be filled with seeds. Yeah, here you can see the different results of some of the participants. And apart from that, I also work with different types of molds. So one laser cut negative mold, and the positive acrylic pieces, I also used them to avoid material waste, and an engraved version of the mold. And with each method, I produced a slightly different result. I figured out that all of them worked, but yeah, you can find out more details on that in my documentation. Yeah, now moving on to the seeds. I used wheatgrass and barley to grow the roots, both of which worked well. And the general workflow for growing the roots is as follows. So the seeds are soaked for 20 minutes in a mixture of 1 part white vinegar and 3 parts water to clean them. After that, they're rinsed and soaked in water overnight. And the next day they are rinsed again. And after soaking and rinsing, the seeds are placed in a sprouting box with a lid. And it's very important to create this greenhouse effect, so the environment is warm and moist and still ventilated, and the box should be placed in a sunny spot to make them grow better. The mold is placed inside the grow box, allowing the roots to grow into it, and for the first 3 days, the seeds need to be rinsed with water twice a day to keep them moist, and after that, they begin to sprout and can be watered as needed. So they continue growing until the roots reach like the desired thickness, and the whole process takes about 10 days depending on the amount of sunlight. And after growing, they're harvested, dried, and can be used. I experimented with different growing methods, but yeah, with what I'm presenting now is the process that works best in the end. So here's another video to show the whole process. Yeah, for harvesting, the top layer of the sieve is cut to separate the seeds from the grass of the roots, and underneath the sieve, yeah, you can see the roots, and now the mold has to be removed, and then the roots will be left to dry. And afterwards, I assembled them on a mesh fabric to give them a bit more stability, and then I sew them together to create the blanket. Yeah, finally, I want to talk about the sensor and the projection part of the installation. As you can see here on the left, I recorded the seeds and roots using time lapse and then projected this footage onto a black wall for the installation. To create the interaction, I used an ultrasonic sensor that detects when a hand moves closer. As the hand approaches, the projection starts playing, and when it moves away, the projection stops. So for this, I work with Arduino and Touch Designer. Arduino sends the data to Touch Designer, which is reading it out and controlling the projection. And the sensor is hidden between the roots and a layer of black fabric and is connected, yeah, to my computer. So you would actually not see it during the exhibition. Yeah, I hope you get a good overview of my project, and please feel free to check my documentation or reaching out to me for questions. And yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Johanna. Really impressive. I still remember from last time that I was like, wow, the project is so complex. How will she how will she succeed in 4 weeks to do this quite complex installation? So yeah, I'm very impressed that yeah, that you have succeeded. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, the topic feels very dear to me, and you also mentioned like you wanted to explore how rootedness is something we carry, and it's not something fixed, and it's not necessarily a place. And yeah, I really appreciate how you involved other people also into the process of doing the installation. I mean, which also adds quite some, I mean, a tight time frame, no? And you have to kind of rely on other people taking good care of growing their roots. And yeah, I guess you have harvested also a lot of conversations and feedback, yeah, from your growing partners. And yeah, I would really love to experience the installation myself. Yeah, it's been yeah, great to see all your documentation, because it makes one really understand the process and what it took. Like all the visual and like video material was very important, I think, like to understand the outcome and the aim, but also the artistic expression and the process. So yeah, very well also communicated, because something like an installation is, yeah, sometimes also hard to describe, no? So yeah, very well done. Thank you, Johanna.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you, Joanna. I think that I imagine that it is an alive project, because it is participatory, so it can be growing and continue growing, and that's the nice part of it. I think that your work in documenting also is extraordinary, the quality. I have looked on your website documentation, so it's very, very nice. I did have a question, but it's more technical. Like, what if you have noticed why some roots are more dark, and why are some others that they are lighter in color, or if you have noticed like if they get harder and harder with time. Some more technical questions, but I think that all of this can be found in your documentation. No? Oh. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I think my connection got stuck. You were asking about the color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to say. I think it had something to do with the drying, like the
Mm-hmm.
pieces, and also if with the moist. If the roots were very moist, they got a bit darker. Yeah, so harvesting them earlier makes them a bit lighter. I think this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that your carpet and the stories, they will continue growing. And just to like be also honest, the technical part where the design is informed by the questionnaires is something that I haven't seen a lot in Fabricademy. I think it's very nice that you inform your design patterns from the questionnaire. And I imagine different questionnaires and different it could be even longer, maybe, the questionnaire, so that the customization part is somehow this memory of the person, that they can recognize their contribution to this pattern, to this like social carpet, let's say. And
That would
so
be great.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And we can continue with Carlota.
Hello, hi to everyone, and thank you to be here. So, I start to share my screen for. I want to start with the video mode. So.
humans, plants, and ecosystems.
Mhm. You are still there. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, it is your
Okay, claro.
last
Sorry.
tab, I guess.
Mhm. Okay, and come back. So this was my video mode, and now I share my presentation. It's fine. Mhm.
There's nothing is happening. She's stuck. Wait. Mm. Mm. I stopped. Okay. It looks like she's having a short internet connection problem. Let's wait. I would say because we have the presentations also in the following days, for the ones presenting, try just to keep only your presentation open, not have many windows open, or so that you don't overload your computer, and also try not to embed your videos in your presentations, just have them apart. They work better. And okay, should we swap?
I think we can also wait a couple of minutes. We still more than on time. We're actually 6 minutes early. So if we want to, we could. Carolina, are you in touch with?
Yes, her computer just stopped completely, so she's restarting. Sorry. Maybe after. Thank you. She's still restarting the computer. So we are still waiting for the internet connection.
Should we have Laura present, and then maybe, I think maybe it's better to swap.
Yeah, and then maybe we see Carlotta in one whole time, because I think it's beautiful to see all the parts together.
Okay. Also, if you also have possibility to connect with your computer via a cable, it's always better. Just for the next few days, so that we don't have these hiccups. I'm making some time for Laura to get ready. I see her. So, Laura, would you like to present?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You be trying this.
You can do it.
Yeah. Here we go. Give me a short sign, please, if the sound is working. I give you a when it started.
No sound.
Imagine swimming in the ocean.
Yes.
And suddenly Something touches your skin. Your body reacts. You become aware of time, aware of your surroundings. You feel vulnerable, not because it hurts, but because it reminds you how exposed your body is. And you realized you are not alone in this environment. Breathing is one of the most intimate things our body does. It happens quietly, constantly, without us noticing. With every inhale, something from the outside world becomes part of our inner system, a fragile exchange that keeps us alive. Our bodies live through rhythm. Breathe in, breathe out. The ocean moves in rhythms too. Currents, tides, waves. When we enter the water, our breathing slows, our body floats. For a moment, the rhythm of our body and the rhythm of the ocean begin to align. Along the Caribbean coast of Mexico, this balance is being disturbed. Massive amounts of sargassum seaweed wash ashore every year. These blooms disturb marine ecosystems, affecting tourism and local communities. Sargassum exists in contradiction. It is often perceived as pollution, but it is also a biological resource, an excess material with untapped potential. My project begins with material itself. Sargassum is a floating marine organism, a renewable biological material. Biomaterials are not only defined visually, they can be perceived through multiple senses. Through material research, I explore how the seaweed can be transformed into structures that carry the aesthetics of the ocean. Through biofabrication, living materials become part of the design process. Instead of extracting resources, we collaborate with biological systems and their natural properties. Through casting, molding, and experimental processes, sargassum becomes a new design medium, not only as a material, but also as a source of inspiration for form. Ocean breeze translates the moment of contact into a wearable experience. It becomes an interface between the human body, technology, and the ocean. A motor sets the system in motion. A gentle, repetitive movement emerges. Instead of controlling the system, we begin to respond to it, slowly adapting, attuning to the rhythm of the object. A quiet negotiation between body, material, and machine. Through proximity, a shared rhythm begins to form. When wearing the object, the body becomes a temporary host for marine material. Breathing becomes more present, more conscious. Environmental systems become physical. The crisis is no longer distance. It feels literally and become personally. Ocean Breath proposes a different relationship between body, material, and environment. We need to relearn how to listen, to attune, to move with the natural rhythms. Sometimes it only takes a light touch to remind us how fragile our systems are.
So, my project called Ocean Breathe, a shared rhythm, wearable exploration of alignment. This is my final project, and yeah, we all worked the last month, the last days, really, really hard on it, and I'm happy to chat with you. I'm here in Mexico, in Ibero, Puebla, and who I am. Hello, I'm Laura Muth. I'm a product and color designer from Germany. And yeah, I study product design, but anyway, my projects are mostly between material research, wearable art, but also conceptual design. And I think this project brings all of this together. So in the last video, I talked about what. So I explain you the concept, and I also say why. So the context around the sargassum. But now we should talk about how. So every big project should start with a project plan. That means keep the important dates in mind, but also what are all the components and what tools I have to have. So therefore, I create really early in the early stage a big overview, a mind map to show what are the parts. So the theoretically parts, like the components, the concept, the design components. So actually what I want to design, it's a collection with a headpiece, a bra, and a skirt. But I'm also designing the biomaterials. And for sure, the process. Keep the process in mind, what techniques I have to use. So now I guide you through the design and the process. So the material itself is the source, but also I have in mind the properties and how I can apply it. So I had the chance to actually go for myself for the Caribbean coast and collect it. And I made a lot of different kind of material tests. So use the algae as a biomass, as a pigment, but also in itself, it has already alginate. So I tested for the thickness, for the color, and also how flexible it should be. I tried different kind of applications and the placement on the body. So the design, as I told you, I don't use sargassum only as a material, but also as a inspiration for the shape. So the shapes become part by part in a dialogue with AI. I used ChatGPT, I used picture generators, and also in the back and forward dialogue, also with Photoshop. Final end, I can generate this three-dimensional piece, print it, and make it come through. But also here, I don't want to just use the shape. I also applied the bioplastic on the surface. With this first piece, the glasses, I roughly, also with the same dialogues, create the chest piece. And actually the chest piece is kind of the hard piece of the collection, because here the technique comes through, and actually this makes it breathing with you and makes it more visible and touchable and feelable. Also here I want to apply the bubbles of the aesthetic and also this the structure. With the same technique, I also created the back piece where the technique is placed, and also a hip piece with a back and front piece. On all of them, I applied the sargassum. So let's talk about the technique. As I showed you in the video already, I simply the technique down as possible. So I only use one little motor, which makes one gear rotating and this lifting up the bubbles. For the placement, I had to have all the components together to know how big is the big have to be the cover bubble on the back. Let's talk about the storytelling. So actually, like in the last days when I was fighting with the technique, I was thinking about that the way this project turned out now makes so much more sense. For me, it was important to have this touch, to put this in the focus. For sure, I want to talk about the background and about the context and the problems, but that you have to be touched. And in the beginning, I used the sensor for your breathing, so you making the whole construction moving. But actually now, this breathing, you have to adapt. And I think this brings so much more the story I want to tell. And in the end, the shooting. So for the shooting with so much material and also like the aesthetic, I want to bring it a little bit more in the luxury way. So I was thinking in the golden wet look was really important, the timing. So I wanted to shoot in the golden hour. And I created a playlist for that, and I used the inspiration trend scouting panel. Okay, hey, hurry up. This is the mood for the shooting. And I went to a museum because the aesthetic of the architecture is like in a big contrast with the project itself. And now let's see the final piece.
Thank you, Laura. What an amazing project, and the aesthetics are just stunning. Yeah, I mean, you have such a talent for, yeah, such an incredible aesthetic language in your whole process and documentation. Yeah, congratulations. And yeah, I don't know really what to say. Yeah, I actually, yeah, I really appreciated like the documentation, and also like how you told the story, how strong the aesthetics are. Also, I mean, yeah, it's just been. I mean, yeah, I can like really see the sarcasm becoming fashionable because it just looks so incredible. Yeah, and yeah, I'm very curious to actually see like more detailed pictures, even of like how you coated the sarcasm onto the different pieces. But yeah, I will have a look at your project website later to yeah. Yeah, for me, like this is a really round and extraordinary project from kind of being inspired by a material and then like really professionally translating it into an aesthetic language and into this collection of pieces. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And then also kind of the body becoming a temporary host of the sarcasm.
Yeah, I think it's also when Simona was presenting, I was thinking she built something outside to bring to the ocean, and I actually bring the ocean outside to it, so you can experience everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I could really imagine that kind of these accessories become some kind of a seasonal couture whenever the sarcasm season is. I don't know. I guess it's a seasonal phenomenon, no? Or is it there all the time?
I think right now it's all the time, but there are seasons it's way more. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then also, yeah, also interesting to observe the pieces and how they change a little bit, like over time, like with bioplastics, or like yeah, reacting to the environment as well, and yeah, maybe there's also something about yeah, when like one coating or like one season, one coating is kind of finished with its life, then yeah, adding a different coating and then seeing like are there color differences or differences in behavior, or I don't know. But yeah, very, very fantastic project. Thank you, Laura, for the inspiration.
Thank you very much.
Great work, Laura. Actually, we want more. We want a complete set. I hope that you will be able to make more things and continue this research. I like the fact that you're bold because you want to have this design freedom, and the design freedom for you can be expressed through also 3D printing. And it's this like complexity, the shapes, and this aesthetic, let's say, your aesthetics that you bring, that I think that you find this freedom with 3D modeling and additive manufacturing, and this concept of the temporality of a biomaterial that can work as a coating, like a patina, this is something that was also proposed in another project, Xander's project, where he was using actually biomaterials for changing the trends and the colors according to, so you keep the same piece but you change the coding, as Svenja was saying. I think it's a very interesting aspect that will allow you also to fine-tune different versions of the product, no? So you can think about that as something for the future. And yes, we would like to see more. Thank you. Oh, and now I hope that we can see Carlota. And I hope that your internet connection is back and it is stable. Please try to avoid having many tabs open. And
Yes, sure. And I'm sorry, I will share the screen directly in the edit mode of Canva. So I'm so sorry because I have this issue. Okay. So. Okay, so I take just a little piece for remember you what we see. So what we have seen the video mood is the atmosphere and the intention of my project, Radical Ecosystem. It is in bio-hybrid installation where a living plant, a soft robotic flower, and the human physiological interaction become part of the same behavior system. So the project started from the simple question, what's happened when the technology does not dominate the nature, but instead learns to respond to it. So in this system, soil moisture define the main behavior, state of the organism, plants biosignal influence the sound layer, and the human heartbeat introduce temporary ascent into the system. These input are translated into movement, light, and sound, creating an artificial organism that does not simply react to commands, but behavior according environmental and biological condition. So here you can see the system unpacked. So the project is built through the combination of material and electronics and logical elements. The physical structure is a soft robotic body in silicone, 3D printed components made in PLA, translucid, and an internal pneumatic setup with tubes, pumps, and valves that allow the flower to expand and contract. The mechanical body is connected to a LED strip, sensor, and microcontroller-based logic, which allow the system to translate input into behavior. At the same time, the flower does not exist alone. Is a part of a system, an ecosystem that also include implants, the soil moisture sensing, and also the human heartbeat. So we can see here the wait.
You can really not go full screen, no?
When I put the full screen with canvas, the computer is completely freeze. Is the reason, and it's happening this time and also last time. So maybe it's better. Is better. So maybe you can see better. Here you have a diagram about the system. We have the box. The box is created in acrylic and is laser cutted, and it hospitates all the electronic component. Is connected to the body, to artificial flower, and inside of the base we have the LED strip and all the canal that hospitates the tubes and heartbeat sensor that is here in the metal. And on the side of the artificial plant, I put the real plant that is the most important agent. I know that I wanted to put every agent in the same level, but for sure here the plant is the protagonist. The plant is heard, perceived with these two sensors. We have the soil moisture, and we have the pocket shown take the electronic biodata. And also then not in all the situation, but we have the input, the human input. So the system is created for having this kind of various output. So we have the light manifestation, the sound manifestation, the movement, about the hair, so the movement of the robotic flower, and a video part. For sure, I also in this moment change all my presentation, because I have to say in the beginning that in this moment I present only like a more autonomous system. So I have my my sculpture connected with the microcontroller, but I remove for this moment the video part, because I want to last only in a real immersive situation. So I don't present it in this moment. And also the other part that make the project bigger is the sound generation that is created in this moment from by another artist. And in this situation, I only present with the sound of the pocket shone, that is a commercial part that give us the sound ambient. And in this way, what I have a system that I can connect directly to the power without any computer, and let the microcontroller work. So I come back in the process. So the process has been focused on translating biological environment data into behavior, not only just the visualization. I developed a system where each layer has a role. So humidity sets the baseline control condition. The plants contribute to the living signal, and the human body does not take the control, but it perturbs temporarily the system. So, okay. So all the development process had several phases. So in general, I can divide into some areas. So the software robotic part that for sure has the main the software robotic part, the base that I created, printed in PLA in 3D print, the box created with the laser cut, and the electronic part that in the beginning was more prototype, and then I tried to solve everything for take over, for example, the breadboard, and then hold the digital decoding part. It was very tricky because I work with different kind of signal. So for the more nerd, I use the OSC for the pocket shone, but it's the serial for the data from Arduino, from the humidity sensor. So connecting both in a system was just a little bit tricky, and was working with pure data, and then I worked with other software. So I think that I lose a lot of time trying to work with pure data. So also for that reason, I asked to an artist that usually work with this biosensor to make, and also work with me to do this part. Okay, here you can see more precise the parts, and also the function. So, for example, the light for sure is the most visible part of the system, because, for example, for sure the all the different function the air, different function are different, but in general, we couldn't see so much a big difference, for example, in a picture. We need to be here and stay just a little bit for understanding, for example, when the plants is too much, for example, wet, the color is violet, and also the respiration is like it's remember a wet sentiment, for example. So my time is ended, and sorry for the presentation. That was a mess, but okay, just a little think about the future. So this is the state system. I want to make this immersive installation, and I already know where. And so this year I will make this real premiere, and also I'm thinking to make a unique form for this piece, and also working in soft robotic in other scale or forms. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlotta. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how you have progressed in the last couple of weeks since your last presentation. And yeah, very impressive. Yeah, and also quite a complex setup with all the sensors and actuators. Yeah, also please invite us all to when you will exhibit it this year. I would love to maybe to
sure.
get a chance to see it for real. Yeah, also the aesthetics of the kind of what I guess it's some kind of a twin plant, or like I mean it looks quite similar, like the real plant and then the representation, the silicon-based plant. Like, is it supposed to be kind of the representation or like spokesperson for the plant? And in that case, I think it would be really interesting to develop them in a way so that they become even more alike. So one almost cannot tell the difference between the real plant and the robotic plant. Yeah, maybe working with colors and like trying to make the shapes and like expressions a bit more similar, and maybe then a flower is quite difficult. Maybe it could be like a flower that's anyways a bit more like big, so it's easier to imitate it. But yeah, that would be quite fascinating, just as a kind of an idea for the next iteration.
Thank you. we already talked about the material that I was saying that I didn't like to work with the silicone, but for having this kind of form for the first time, I wanted to work with silicone. But I'm already thinking about other material
Yeah.
with
But
other
I mean
forms for
the
others.
the silicon
Yeah.
worked quite well, like with the transmission of like an organic movement pattern. So I mean, it looked very, very organic, like in terms of how the petals moved. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I have anything more, but yeah, thanks a lot and looking forward to see more of your work.
Yes, and wanted to get just a little bit of mystery, surprise. I couldn't record with like a projection mapping in my house.
Yes, I think that it is very nice that you want to continue and developing further the project. For me, the project has a very, very fundamental question, and maybe this is what I invite everyone to start thinking about after this 3 hour of presentation is, what if nature controlled technology? And that's a very big subject. We could discuss about it for many more hours. And I think that it's a good starting point for reflection. And I don't know if it is that actually this flower, this robotic, this technology imitates nature, the flower, or if it is a matter of love and hatred, or if it's a relationship, or it can be this dialogue that those have, and how this dialogue can be understood, controlled, and maybe influenced by human. And also it gives us this project, I think it gives us also a little bit of a hint towards a dystopic future of autonomous technologies that we don't have actually saying upon, with all of the artificial intelligence, and also the intelligence, and also these futures where machines take decisions, and they can be regardless nature or human. they can serve.
For sure talk about it, but yeah, in general, it's my perspective, and the perspective that I wanted to have with my work is a positive, is a new utopia.
It is this symbiosis or interlacing, let's say, nature with technology. But this project I think it is very nice to close this session with reflecting on these things that the project brings. And thank you so much, Svenja, for your feedback and for your patience. And I hope that you enjoyed the projects this year, and how they evolved from the midterm to now. Congratulations to everyone. We have been taken to different, I would say it was quite a traveling experience for me today also, because I was in the Dead Sea, and then in Mexico, and it has been quite also somehow in Ireland as well, so it has been quite a travel today, both over the earth and under the water, and it was very nice. I'm happy to invite everyone to also join for the next days, because we will have presentations on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with different jury. I don't know, Svenja, if you would like to conclude with something.
No, I just feel, I mean, I think this is just a beautiful and like very important moment for everyone, and I feel a bit sad that that we didn't really have enough time to celebrate everyone. So I would really like to send like a love shower to each and every one of you, and hope that you have some time to celebrate your achievement wherever you are today. Yeah, so well done, and thank you for sharing and letting me be part of this.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody. Been a beautiful, very emotional first day. And I agree with both of you. It's been very special to see how everybody relates to all the different things that are out there. Bringing them in, bringing them out, as also Laura was saying. So it was, for me, it was a lot about relations today. Well done. See you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.